similar to sketching for writing or sketching for art making or shooting a lot for photography. What I think the simplest way to just get more into a practice of coming up with ideas is to use lists as essentially sketching for coming up with ideas. The best thing to do is to set yourself up in a position where you have a way of working even when you don't need to be working. So like, you don't need to be painting necessarily all the time, but you kind of do, because if you don't, you get stiff. And it's like, if you've ever taken a really long period of time off from a specific activity, you know there's that frustration when you dip back into it, and you have to kind of relearn how to do that. So list making is kind of the way of keeping the ideation thing happening all the time in a kind of lo-fi way. So a simple way to do this is like, I picked this up from the writer James Altucher. So he buys those waiter pads because they're like 10 for $1. So he'd go to like a restaurant supply company in New York and buy $10 worth of them, like 100 pads. So he has like no attachment to them. And then you just write like 1 through 10 and make a list of just any idea he had for any project that he could do at that given moment. A thing to write about, a business to start, whatever. Key emphasis on that could thing, right? Not 10 things I want to start before I die, just 10 things I could start. I like being outside, I could walk dogs. Like, no attachment. And then he would like rip that off, and then he might go to like 10 ideas to help this friend get more work because they're struggling. So he just like has this habit of like making a list or two every single day. I think this is massively helpful. I've gone through periods where I've done this for a year straight, and then I kind of don't do it anymore. But the way I work now is kind of part of the design process is like 10 ways I could design this thing. So writing down just like 10 projects you could do and getting yourself to realize that the ideas you have, just because you have the idea, just because you've written it down, you don't have to do it. It doesn't have to suddenly become yet another unfinished thing. It's about pushing your brain to constantly be making connections between you and the world around you and the people around you, because you make a list of 10 things every day. Eventually, one of them is going to be like, oh, whoa, that's a sick idea. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden you'd be like, I could do that. That would be amazing. It's sort of like getting at the shower epiphany without hoping that showering every day will somehow lead to ideas. Oh, it's weird. Like I would think that there would be so many great ideas floating around because people take showers every day. There's really not. So like the exercise I typically do in this class is like first like just a list of 10 projects you could do. It could be the 10 projects you want to do that are constantly kicking around. And then make a list of 10 books you could write. The easiest way to do that is like, what are some things you know about? If you got rid of the idea that you had to be an expert, that you had to be a writer, that you had to be smart, that you had to have something to say, and you just said like, what are 10 things I know about? Well, the first one is you know about your own life. So cool, you could write your autobiography, or you could write your memoirs. Maybe the one thing you figured out is you're a terrible parent. Cool, you could write about that. You know, you could write like the Don't Do As I Do book about parenting, which like doesn't exist, but would be great. So you just go through like, what are 10 things you could write about? And then all of a sudden, like you do that, you're gonna get in that habit. And like I apply this, I used to do this for like the soap factory. I'd be like, 10 things I could do for the soap factory that we don't currently do. One of them was make screen printed posters for them, which is like what those were. We didn't used to do that. But we came in, they were expanding their shop, and I was like, well, I have this list of like new projects that I think we could do that would be cool. And one of them is to make screen printed posters of our invites, because our invites are beautiful. Why not make more of them and bigger and better and signed and stuff? And they were like, oh, that's awesome, let's do that. So we would do stuff like that. Or at one point we said like, let's make a newspaper for every exhibition. Like we could do it really cheaply and easily. And they were like, we don't want to do that, but we want to do one for the haunted basement. Boom, like new project. The list was literally torn out of a moleskin that I wrote lists in. Like it wasn't like a mercenary thing. No, it was like if I hadn't had a meeting with them that day, maybe I would have forgotten I'd even written it like a week before. But I've done it at Latitude. I did it at Knock. I kind of do it like whenever I'm like working for or with someone, I'll be like making a list of like just potential things I could do or things they could do. Like, I don't have to do them, right? But like all of a sudden, like your brain starts working overtime in a cool way, like a cool kind of helpful way. So like 10 future lists you could write, 10 movies to remake. And you can be like, well, why would I remake any movie? Well, who knows? Maybe once you realize that you could do a better job on The French Connection 2, maybe you're going to have a new career. Because The French Connection 2 is a garbage movie that I would love to see someone remake. 10 business models you could steal ideas from for selling art. That's actually like a super cool idea if you're an artist. Because like how often do you ever think about a business model as an artist? But if you're like, wait, I don't even know what a business model is. That could be great. All of a sudden you do some research and you're like, the Uber model.